Hello, everyone. Hope you're well. I said in my last video that I am done with COVID. I feel like I am, but we're in a weird position at the moment where it's not done with us. It seems to be ravaging both the boys' classes at school. Their classes are dropping like flies. I don't know what the rules are, really, whether they need to keep testing or whether they're clear for a certain amount of time and they're immune. But answers on a postcard would be very useful. It's created a bit of a headache for us that we don't know whether Ollie actually ever had it, and now his class are just constantly getting it, and he's refusing to let us test him. So we're just having to keep an eye on whether he has any symptoms. But it's gone through Ben's class like mad this past week, and he's already had it. So I don't know what to think there. But also, anyone who listens to the podcast knows I'm getting these weird weaknesses for an hour a day, and that's still happening a little bit, which is weird. But it's not all doom and gloom, and I know that sounds a bit worrying, but it's just bizarre. I just get struck down with a bit of I can't be bothered. And I'm like, I really, at first I was just eating loads for it, thinking I was low on like sugar or whatever, but I've stopped doing that because I feel like I'm just going to gain about 4 stone in weight, and I don't need to gain weight. But it's weird, and I don't know. We'll see. I'm riding it out. I'm talking to my sister about it. She's clued up on long COVID, and she's a nurse and all of this, so it's like she'll help me. But it's a weird one. And it just seems to be ever since I just haven't recovered. I think it just takes a while to get over it. But on a more positive note, my weird brain, I've mentioned in the past about how there's like thoughts or problems I need to solve. And then when I kind of pop a bubble, as I call it, suddenly everything else falls into place and things start to solve themselves. And I've had two, one of them was a really minor thing. There was just a video I'd been looking for forever. And it's completely trivial. But it's always been in the back of my mind that I hadn't found it yet. And every now and again, I would try and look for it. And then I'd come across something that I thought was it, and it wasn't it. And the other day, I just randomly found it. And I was like, oh, brilliant. So that made my head feel a little bit clearer. And I started to have ideas about... It was really weird. It was like I got over that one little problem. And then suddenly I was like, I've just thought of a really good game series I might do. I mentioned on the podcast that I'm playing Mortal Kombat at the moment, but I'm playing it on like super easy mode. And I'm playing Guardians of the Galaxy on really easy mode. And I just thought to myself, I could probably do videos where I am a massive noob at a game, but then I try and play them on the hardest setting and see how I do and try and get better at it and just try and become better at it. And so I'm thinking, assuming that, part of me is like, I'm not going to be put off by feedback. I'm just going to try and do it and see how it works out, because sometimes ideas don't sound great on paper, but I'm thinking that's going to be a fun thing to do. So I'm going to try and sit and do that and make some videos where I just try and get better at certain games that I absolutely suck at. I genuinely just play all these games on very easy mode. I'm really bad at them, and that's it. But I thought, oh, there's a little thing I can do. So that was like one problem solved. Another one, just a massive one, because I've been looking for ideas for videos for ages, and that just went... And then today it was like, I've been trying to figure out what to do with Scottish Power. Anyone who follows me on Twitter knows that I cancelled my direct debit with them because I was leaving them, and then they asked me to set up a new direct debit because they actually convinced me to stay with a good deal, and then they couldn't set up a direct debit because I'd cancelled it, and it kept causing problems, and they weren't setting it up properly, and that was like September, and it's taken this long, and they've still not sorted it out. So sometimes they took payment in December, and then they didn't take payment this month, and they haven't taken payment any other month since September, and it's like a massive faff. And out of the blue, they rang me today, and they were like, if you just set up a standing order yourself, you can just send us the money to our account with your account number on it, and we'll do it that way. It'll work. So solving that problem, I immediately then, that popped, and I thought, I've still not sorted out Ollie's blue badge. I need to start that process, so I'm starting that. I immediately went and ordered, my microphone's broken, and I had already been talking to Kevin Pab about this, but I've sorted that out, so my microphone will be better as of tonight. I've got one coming tonight that I'm gonna get. We ordered a new rug it was like I solved problem X, and suddenly I was like, right, we need a rug for the floor. We need something to stop it slipping. I need this. I need a new table. And I've just suddenly gone bang, 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 and it's like my quality of life will just go from, well, not that it's low, but you get what I mean. It will like jump up. A lot of problems are just solved overnight, and my head just immediately feels physically different from it. It's amazing, isn't it? It's so funny and weird. A normal person would have just systematically worked through all of these things, figured them out, job done. But I seem to have popped one bubble, and suddenly they're all popping in a bit of a cascade because I've got the focus and energy to do it, which is nice. especially at a time when my energy keeps going up and down. Anyway, it's a very weird month. Um, it feels like things are going okay, other than the COVID stuff at school, and um, all the issues with that. It's work's going quite normal. I applied for a side hustle, which I think also helped me. All the kind of I don't know what I want to do, blah 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 stuff that I was worrying about before. I just out of the blue randomly got a message on LinkedIn, like an advert saying this company are looking for somebody to write about Pokemon Go. So I've sent an application in for that, and I just thought it's not a full-time job. It's like they want like X amount of articles a week, and I just thought I'm qualified to do that. I can write. Oh, here's my credentials. Let me write about it. I'm hoping they'll see the application and think, yeah, this guy looks all right, and give me a chance to talk about it, because I think that having seen that exists and applied for it, I now feel less like I've got this annoying burn of I should be looking for things that I'm interested in to do. Because part of me just thinks if I start applying for stuff like that and I got enough of them going, that I was busy all the time, I'd feel a lot better. And then if I was getting extra busy and making more money, I could start balancing out and prioritizing what I actually want to do. And then the more I prioritize, the happier I'll feel. And eventually, in an ideal perfect world, I'd be Mr. Okay, right, I've got complete free time. I'll pick and choose what I do. I feel like I live in the kind of job where I could actually probably say, do you know what, I'll work on projects when you have them, but the rest of the time I'm going to do my own thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that's what I want to do, or that I'm going to go to work and say that. And I don't think anyone's going to see this from work. But if they did, don't worry. I'm just thinking in a magic, 3-4 years on from now world, I'd love to be in a position where I could just say, right, I want to do this, this, and this, and I want to do that, and be Mr. Flexible, have more control. That's what I want. And weirdly, just applying for one made me feel like immediately I've chosen to do something. I'm in control now, and it's there. And if they say no, you suck, get out, it's like, no, that's fine, because I sent an application in. It wasn't good enough. I'll figure it out for next time. I think that's all I needed. That little, but again, bubble popped, progress made, and I wish I could explain it, and I wish I knew how to control it. If I could get a bit of control over it, things would be a lot nicer and easier. But the bubble popping, I mean, but having this control is lovely jubbly. We are no further on any school stuff. Changing the subject slightly again there for Ollie. He's got a meeting in February, and I think this is another thing I need, other than going for his blue badge, I need to sit and actually look through schools and properly decide what I'm looking for in a school, and what we hope would happen if, again, taking control of that, what we hope would happen, what the best scenario would look like, who can do what, because that's the thing, like, I know, there's these SEN schools within a radius, but I don't know what they do differently. I don't want to send him to one that says we're really good with autistic children, and then it turns out they're doing some sort of AB therapy or something awful like that, because then you're like, well, I don't want them just punishing him into shape, into a mold. I mean, not shape as in it's the right shape. I don't want him forcing him through a cookie cutter and saying you have to act like this. But I'm not 100% sure I'd want him going to somewhere where he was just frolicking in the fields for hours doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? I need this in between thing where they treat him with the respect and dignity to do what he needs and that kind of thing, but also push him to meet his potential, because he's very. And I know all parents think their kids are clever and all this. I'm not saying this like in a wangy way, but he's genuinely a clever kid. He genuinely understands science. He's genuinely good at what he likes, and I want to push that. And I know he's like me. He's quite happy to go, if I don't have to make any effort, I won't make any effort. He's not stupid. He won't make effort if he doesn't have to. And I need him to be at a school that say, well, you have to make an effort, but we understand that you need, these crutches to help you get to that effort, and we understand this, which his school now does do, but just not in the full holistic way that he needs. Like, right now, school's going really well. He's going in at 9. He's finishing at 12:15. It's only been 3 days worth, but he's going in. He's coming out. Everyone's happy. When I got there yesterday, he was having I could hear him through the head's window. The head's window's near the entrance, and they were just chatting away about Friday Night Funkin'. This game he's obsessed with. Like, he watches. Yesterday, I said to him, "You can watch it for an hour and a half." I basically said, and he was like, "No," and he really wanted to just sit and watch it all day, and I kept saying to him, no, you can't sit here and watch like 6 hours of Friday Night Funkin' videos. For a start, it's just all you hear in the background is this pixely, it's not pixel, it's the wrong word, it's sound computery beeping noise, but it does make him feel happy. It's sound, it makes him comfortable. It's just obviously excessive, isn't it? And I know that you kind of, I don't want to take him away from things that make him comfortable, but he has lots of different things he can do. He can pivot from that to a book, or to Lego, or to Roblox, or to Minecraft, or I know some of that's still just going from one screen to another, but I want him to mix up what he does. And some of them are interacting with other children, like in his class, like on Roblox, and some of them are interacting with just randoms on a game that you can play online, but you can't talk. So it's a little bit social. Speaking of that, I don't think I spoke about this on anything other than Twitter. We went out at the weekend for Pokemon Community Day, and he took his iPad with him because we thought if he's having a bit of a struggle and he's getting a bit upset or he's stressed or something goes wrong, it's a good thing to hand him. And it's also good when we went to get some food, he could just sit on that. So in the car, he was on it, and he was saying, my friend asked how long till we get there, and we said, 20 minutes. And he was like, oh, I just told him I was going to be an hour. And then about, I don't know, half hour later, he was on it for whatever reason. I think we were waiting for something, and he was like, oh, so and so says they're at the new park. And I was like, okay. And then we sat down for food, and he was like, so and so's just said they're at blah blah blah. And I was like, are they actually here? And he was like, I don't actually know. They just said something about this place and whatever. So I just assumed he was just misunderstanding. Like, I kind of sat there thinking, what? Why would his friend be at this place on his iPad playing Roblox? And it was weird. It was just like my kid was doing it, so it wasn't impossible. But we literally, we left and walked down to this park, and they were a bit ahead of me because I had to stop. I had a cut on my foot that was driving me nuts. I was hobbling along. And when I caught up with them, I was like, who's Ollie playing with? And he's playing with his friend, just running around. And I said to Claire, I was like, I've been thinking that he was just talking nonsense. Because it wasn't only like 3 or 4 times he'd mentioned it. He'd mentioned that his friend was there so many times that I was just like, well, if he's here, why haven't we seen him? And then Claire come up to me about 10 minutes later and was like, his mum's just said that their kid has been walking around going, Oliver's at the cafe, Oliver's at the park, Oliver's here, Oliver's there. And that she was just like, why would he be here on Roblox? That's absurd. And it just really made me laugh that both our families have this little 9-year-old who's wandering around a giant field with all this stuff to do, and they're playing Roblox to help them cope or whatever. And yeah, we both doubted them, but they're so similar, bless them. That's quite sweet. I'm glad that he's got a friend who's so much like him, and he is a lot like him. I think when they were younger, they were a bit different because Ollie's a bit more outgoing and forthcoming and loud, and his friend was more like, he got upset by things or whatever, but he was a little bit more sensitive. But I think they've kind of got to a point now where they understand each other quite well. So that made me feel good, and that actually made me think, man, school's going better than maybe I thought in that regard, because I wasn't sure how good I always say this, I'm always a bit nervous about his friendships and how solid they are, but they do seem, do you know what I mean? There does seem to be evidence that this is a lot, as good as they feel it is, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to doubt him in any kind of way, like that seems really rude, but it might be a big challenge to say, right, if you're moving, you have to leave that behind. And I don't know whether his friend is going to need to move ever. I haven't really asked. Maybe we need to be starting to have more close conversations if they're that similar. I'm not making assumptions that their child has had any kind of diagnosis, but they have been friends for a while. They are very similar lads, and it's it might be one of those things where they've not pursued it, or they are. I don't know. We just probably need to communicate better. But in a perfect scenario, they'd both go to a new place and it'd be amazing. But I don't see that really happening. But who knows? I don't know. I'm waffling a bit now. But no, it's just funny. It was very funny them both being there. And they ran around for a bit, and then he threw himself on the floor for some random reason as a joke, but he got covered in absolutely caked in mud, and so did Ben. Ben fell over by mistake, bless him. Came up to me all gutted, just completely covered in mud, and I was like, "Oh, it's all right, mate." And he was like, "Where's Mum?" And I thought, "Don't go at your mum; she's gonna think I've sent you to her." So he went and found her, and he was just covered. We had to sort of change him and clean him up, and that was quite funny. We went to my mum's, then their nan's, and just covered her house in mud, and saw their dogs who they've got Labradors that were like tiny little puppies in November, or maybe a bit earlier than that, and now they're just giant. They're bigger than Molly now, and Ben goes from being absolutely petrified of them to absolutely loving that. They come in, they were jumping all over him, going nuts. So he was screaming, and we were like, "Come away!" And he was like, "No, I like it. It's fun," and was just letting them wave over him, whereas I immediately got back because I was like, "Ow, you're scratching my arms. You're a bit big now." But they are brilliant, and they're getting calmer. I mean, that's them actually. They've been quite reserved. They waited their turn. When we used to go around, they used to be much more excited and almost pushing the door down to get through. But my parents are doing a really good job training them, which is nice because it's keeping them busy in their old age. I'm saying that because I know they're watching the old age. But yeah, no, it's been a busy week. It's been a busy weekend. I feel like I felt a bit guilty that I didn't do a video on Thursday, Friday. But honestly, the weakness thing kept kicking in at around lunchtime, and that's why I thought it was food related. But it doesn't seem to make a difference. I've been eating earlier and it isn't really helping. But it's all good. I'm in a positive place. I feel like if that continues, I'll get it checked. But I feel like it's one of those things that I'll just need to get it checked at a certain point once another thing's solved or whatever. It's in the queue in my head, and once I get to it, I'll get to it. But yeah, otherwise, all good. And yeah, all good in the hood. Ollie hates it when I say that. Someone said it to me once, and it's just been in my head for ages. He hates it. All good in the hood. But I'll never say it again, I swear. So yeah, I hope you're all well. Let me know in the comments how your week's going. Let me know how life's going for you all. I feel like, as I say, I've been a bit disjointed, especially this year. I mean, it's the 18th, and this is the second or third vlog I've done. So yeah, I will get back on that bandwagon soon. And as I say, I will be making some gaming videos in the next sort of few weeks. They won't be out immediately. I've got to figure out when I'm going to actually make them and record them and all of that. But yeah, thanks for your time, and I'll catch up with you all soon. Cheers.